So I'm writing function, and the name of the function would be CountCharacter, because we are trying to count how many character there is in a certain function. What I mean is that I want the quantity of the actual word. For example, if I give any word, let's say a name of an animal, I would say giraffe, GIRAFFE, giraffe. For example, if this is my input, I'm giving a name of giraffe. What I want is to actually give me the quantity. For example, here, see CountCharacter. I want to give me the quantity of how many like alphabet there is, a single one. How many of them has a copy of each other. For example, here G, giraffe, I should make it capital. G only have one, and I, capital I also has only one I. R also has only one R. A also has only one A, I believe. And then the difference here is F. You see that F have two F, and E have only one E. This is what I want from this function to return. I want it to give me how many character there is. How many character there is in giraffe. How many character there is duplicate in giraffe. For example, if I have 2F, it return me 2F. If I have 3F, it should give me 3F. And if I have like 2G, the output that I want it to return is 2G. So it's basically give me the quantity of how much something there is in my input. So the next question you should ask, why would I need this function? Well, in order to create a function that is to find an anagram of a word, well, I need to actually know how many quantity there is. For example, if the input that I have, such as EEK, KE, the input that I have, for example, I'm trying to compare two words such as EEK, KE, and they are valid anagram if they have the same like quantity. E should have like 2 of them in the first word because I given 2E. In the second word, E should also have 2E in order to be a valid anagram, meaning they should contain the same amount of quantity of a single character. And I have here the first word, I have K equal to 1, and in the second word I also have K, which equals to only 1K, as you can see. So this is what I want. It actually gives me the frequency or the number of occurrence of one word to the other. So that is basically what I'm trying to build here. Let's try to actually build the CountCharacter function. Let's go to the example, and I want to not log that. Where is it? CountCharacter function. Let me delete that. Let's start fresh. I'm gonna write function and give it the name of count. I would say count letter, count character. It's much better. CHARACTR character. And I'll be taking some input. You can basically give any name that you want. The parameter name. Right here, I give it the name character, but in this new function that I will be creating, I'm giving it the name of input. That is something that you might want to consider. So I want to console log. I mean, I already have this. I'm gonna create CountCharacter, CHARACTR character, make that capital, CountCharacter, and I'm taking the input. That will be word. Let's create a variable of word equal to let's say I already have that word, which is letter. Let's give it giraffe, 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 as you can see. And we're gonna need a mapped or dictionary. If you come up with the Python background, mapped. If you aren't familiar with this syntax, which is map, it basically gives me the output of the key value pairs. be very careful of what I want you to listen very carefully what I mean by key value pair, because let me show you with an example. Let me comment that out. Actually give you with an example. Do not look at this code. It was an experiment. I shouldn't have crossed that. Let me give you an example. Let's say let map equal, let's say I have G here, and G would have 1, giraffe G I here have 1, and if I copy that G I R A F F E G I R A, wait a minute, G I R A F F E. I need to cancel this F, because when it comes to map, as you see with the syntax, it doesn't take any duplicate. If it see any duplicate, it just return how many there is, the quantity, that is 2. So this is basically what the syntax does. It gives me the key. The key would be the value that I'll be given, and the key and the value that I have is this one is a key of value pair. They are presented as a pair, as you can see. This is the first pair, this is the second pair, and this is the third. As much pair as you need it based on the input that you give. So this is basically what we want as the output. So I'm gonna comment that out, and I'm gonna bring this back. I don't want you to overthink what it is. It's basically this. So the question is, you might be asking, why is it empty? Because I want to actually give dynamic input, meaning I want to give the input that I want. I mean, I could change giraffe to elephant, giraffe to, let's say, bull or cow or anything. So it could be dynamic and so I want to save and do something with that input. I want to check how many characters there is. Once I'm done, I want to push that new updated value to the map. So that is what I want to return. So that is why I'm keeping it empty for now. I want you to go back, listen to what I just said. Basically, I've created the length function, right? If you remember the last section, I just mentioned the length function, what it does. We are gonna use that. So I'm gonna do the count. Let's say let count equal to 0, and say count. Wait a minute, I didn't create any count function, did I? Yeah, I just create the I mean, there's no harm in creating the count function. I mean, you can name it any variable that you want. There's a lot of creation of variable when it comes to programming. So I would say count is smaller than the length of the input, and I will do count plus plus. This syntax is, if you are unfamiliar with this, it's basically meaning it's, I'm sure you know what this function, what this syntax does. So I'm creating initialize the count variable, and it start with 0 because I want to start from the beginning, which is G, obviously. And I want to see if the count is less than the actual input. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want it to get all the input that I need. And if it's greater than the input, then I want it to stop. And if it's smaller, then I want it to keep going, meaning add 1 to it, one step at a time. G, add 1 to it, and then it's like a step. It's working. So this one is the initializer, this one is the condition, and this one is the increment. So the next step, what I need to do is let's say I want a single character of the input. I just say a single, single single character. I see single character that will equal to, now what? Single character, I would say, don't remember it anymore. That'll be map, I think. Map will be input. Map input, I think. Character I, oh my god. Always confuse this part. Would be input. input of I. I want to actually take a moment to explain the single character line of code, such as single character line of code. So I want to do it with an example. For example, let input, remember input, I will be passing the value of giraffe, GIRAFFE, giraffe. You can give any value inside an input. For my case, I'll be given giraffe, GIRAFFE, and I'll be using for loop. Remember, we use for loop, so I'll say let count equal to 0, where count is smaller than input dot length. I'm using the inbuilt length function, but in our case, I already have the length function that I built from scratch, so I'm using count. I'll be count plus plus. Next, I'll be creating a curly bracket, and I'll be using console logged. I want to print that, that's why I'm using console logged. And I'll be passing on the input. I'll say input. Now I'll give in inside the square bracket, I'll pass in count variable input. Let me change the variable name because I feel like there's already an input variable name, so it doesn't allow me to use the same variable name. Input. If I run this, input.length is not a function. I should remove that actually. It's not a function. GIRAFFE, giraffe. Save that. Run it again. My bad. GIRAFFE giraffe. As you can see, this is what I want. If I use this line of code, the for loop, it give me all the character, individual character, one by one. If I pass in only the count here, if I pass in only the count, wait a minute. If I pass in only the count, it will give me the index or the number of like an ID of each value that I have here. It's like a position of where these characters stands. G stands at 0. I stands at 1. R, let me select R. R stand at 2, so it'll be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So there are 6 index, or the ID I would call it, 6 index. If I want the actual value, I need to actually pass in the variable name, such as input, and the indexed or the position that they hold, count. So that is why I'm using this input and the position count to get the actual value inside of it. So that is why I'm using that code, giraffe, GIRAFFE. So with that in mind, let's actually code it. I will say let single character equal, I pass in input, and then I should pass in count here because I give it the name of count, but previously I put I. Remember, this is actually wrong because in this function CountCharacter, I name this count I and I pass in I, but in this case I name it count, so I should pass in the name that I give it, count. So if I log that, if I log single character, it should be inside of a block code. What am I doing? If I log that, it will give me multiple values actually. GIRAFFE, it give me the same output as you can see, single character. If I character, as you can see, let single character, change this I to count, and then I'll be using, and then next we will be actually doing the condition. So this is what this line of code is doing. It's taking individual character. I have access to individual input, so the input would be what I give here, as you can see, input. GIRAFFE, GIRAFFE, giraffe. So this will hold the input. Now let's actually look at the condition part of syntax. I would say if the mapped, remember this map variable here, I need the actual value. If I do this square bracket, remember I'm getting the value. What value that I want? I'll be getting the single character. If you remember this single character here, it holds the actual input that we have. Input. And that to all the input, single character, remember? It holds G, it holds I, it holds I, R, GIRR. I should give it GIRAFFE, giraffe, the actual input. The actual input, I should give it giraffe. So the single character here actually hold this input, and I'm getting each and every character here. So I'm taking if the mapped here, the value of single character, if G is in the map, it's basically saying if G, for example, if G is in the map, is it in the map? In our case, G is not in the map. Remember, I haven't actually stored it in the map. So I would say if I haven't stored it, then I'll say else. I would say else. Say map single character. I would say let G be equal to 1. Meaning if I encounter the single character, meaning GIRAFFE, then I want to add 1 to that, to the key. I want to add 1 to each of the key. Remember, if I encounter G, then I want to add 1 to it. So basically that's why I'm putting 1 here. And G, if I encounter GI encounter 1I, so I want to put 1 here. And R, if I encounter 1R, then 1, GIR, A, encounter 1A, then be 1, 1, remember? That's why I put it 1. And then if I encounter F, I also want to put 1. Remember? Encounter F, GIRAF, where is it? G1, I1, R1, A1, F1. If I encounter another F, then I'll not be using this. The code will not go through the else statement, but will go through the if statement in this case. If F is in the single character, remember, F is already in the single character. I already give it 1. So if F is in the single character, then map single character, then I want to add map. I already have map and single. I already have that single character of F. I want to add 1 to it. Meaning there's already F1 and I want to add extra 1 to it. So there'll be 2F because it is true. If there's already F1 and I go to again and I encounter another F, then I'll be using this line of code. Meaning there's already 1, then already 1 plus 1 then equals 2. Remember, single character has only 1 F. So I want to add another 1 to it, and that will give me 2F. So it's basically the addition is same thing as this count here. Count plus 1, that'll be 0 plus 1 to give me 1. Then this count equal 1. Then 1 plus 1 give me 2. And then 2 plus 1 give me 3, and so on and so forth based on the number of... just forget what I said. Single character here has only 1 F, so I add 1 to it, it became 2. And then what do we have? E. Let's say E. Let's say if map single character is in the map. No, it is not. Then I want else. I want to add 1 to the E because I haven't found any duplicates, so there's only 1 E. So basically it just gives me, this is the output that I want, GIRAFFE, and I'm keeping it empty because I want to return the map after I'm done with my for loop and condition. I want to return the final result in this map. Remember, once I'm done with this for loop, remember, condition, then I want to return the updated value of map. Right now it's empty, but I'll be passing on the input Let's actually console log that. I would say log console logged as CountCharacter. I think CountCharacter, the name of our function. Is it CountCharacter? Yes. And the input, I will give it the word variable, which holds the value of giraffe. Remember, giraffe. So if I run this, hopefully there isn't any console log at the end. I feel like I haven't. Yes, there is console log. I should comment that out. I don't want that to run. And then where is it? CountCharacter. I console log CountCharacter. I'm passing in the variable name word with the value that it holds as giraffe. Let me run that. Hopefully there is no error. There we go. It gives me the desired output that I want. G, we have only one. I only have one. Remember this one here, it got from here. If it encounter value, then I want to throw one to it. And see, F also has only one now. And if it encounter another F, it uses another F. So F is already one. So 1 plus 1, it gives me 2. So there is 2F. If I do 3F, let's say if I do 3F and I run it again, then I get 3F. See, it's basically give me the quantity or the frequency of how many character or letter there is. Alphabet character. Let's say I. G only has one. The small letter case I has 2. R has 1. Let's see if I give capital I. What will it give me? Capital I only has 1 I, but small letter I has 2 I. So this is what the CountCharacter function does. Hopefully you understand what this function does. So this is it. Alright, hopefully you learned something and enjoy it as much as I did, and you learn from the mistake that I did, because I make many mistakes. Because I feel like it's important when you try to code. If I don't make any mistake, I feel like there isn't much to gain from it. If I make a mistake, it actually makes you see what went wrong and what are the possibilities that the code can go wrong and how to even fix it. So I feel like it's crucial to make mistake, but for my part, some of them are silly. But at the end of the day, I encourage you to make as much mistake as you can. Try, if you encounter an error, I want you to try it again, change the code, update it, look and console log it, check the output, rinse and repeat again the process. That's how you're actually able to solve some of the problems that you encounter. So this is what the CountCharacter function does. It basically gives me the quantity of how many character there is in the input. Hope you enjoy. Thank you for watching. See you next time.